What is a cult? There's Christian cults, and there's also just cults of other religions, right? Another question. What is the significance of their status to me and my faith? Like, what's the responsibility of you? Like, what do I do with these Christian cults? What's your responsibility? So right off the bat, let me just say this. Are Jehovah's Witnesses Christians? And I'm gonna take the stance of no, they're not. The less they know about their faith, though, the better. So I do believe like a Jehovah's Witness person that just has a nominal, partial view of Jesus and Christian faith, the less they know, I believe they can be saved. But if you know the full totality of Jehovah's Witnesses and what they believe about Christ and the church, afterlife, it's almost impossible to be a Christian because belief matters, right?
Hey there, what you're about to watch is actually just the introduction to an entire course on the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses. In this course, Josh Biedel will walk you through the background, their belief system, and their orthopraxy, which are all considered high-level Christian heresy. So if you're interested in learning more about their belief system and how to interact with them as Christians, you'll want to head to the link below and get a free trial period for Theosu, where you can watch the rest of this course, as well as the entire library of other courses on there as well. You'll definitely want to check out the class on Mormonism, Oneness Pentecostalism, and the brand new course just released from Gabe Pinocchio on Freemasonry. If you're already subscribed, consider sending this video to someone who you think would benefit from watching it, and thank you so much for watching.
What do all these famous Americans have in common? Take a look at the picture here. Dwight D. Eisenhower, former president of America and Allied Supreme Commander, World War II. Serena Williams, the greatest female tennis player of all time, most people say. Selena, top right, famous Latina singer. Notorious B.I.G., hypnotized, baby. Bottom left. Donald Glover. And the bottom right, the king of pop himself, Mr. Michael Jackson. Come on. All these people, since you probably know, spoiler alert, you click on this video, you're watching it, were raised as Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses have a reputation in the world today, especially in America. And I'm going to show you, these are some kind of mean and cranky signs hating on Jehovah's Witnesses that I've noticed and seen. Here's a few for you to just glance at. Look at this one. No salespeople, Jehovah's Witnesses, or canvassers, etc., permitted. We do not buy at the door, nor do we wish to hear about the political and religious beliefs of others. How about this sign? No Jehovah's Witnesses, all caps, or any holy rolling Bible thumpers permitted on this property. How about this one? No Jehovah's Witnesses, no Scientologists, no anti-USA welcome here. This one's the craziest one. Look at this one. Warning to all Jehovah's Witnesses, do not enter this property. We are not interested in your message. We are anti-cult. We protect our children. We support victims of abuse. We believe in higher education. We do not shun family. We donate blood. Disregarding this notice will result in your being detained while you wait for the cops. You will then be prosecuted for trespass. All that to be said, welcome to this hot topic on Jehovah's Witnesses. I will be your humble host, Josh Biedel. Remember, fair warning, friend, this is a hot topic. This is not a full extensive treatment of Jehovah's Witnesses. A normal Theos course class is like 5 hours-ish. This is gonna be about an hour-ish. And so it's a quick overview of something controversial or spicy. This one on Christian cults. Another video we have on Theos, that's Mormonism, hot topic, Christian cult. This one's Jehovah's Witnesses, Christian cult. I meant these videos both to be standalones. So some of my same points, even pictures, jokes, or some of my logical points are gonna be very similar. So if you click on either one of these and you only watch that one, it'll be a standalone. So keep that in mind. Now, some quintessential questions that overarch this hot topic on Jehovah's Witnesses. They are this: how do you know the truth? How do you know it? Also known as the field of epistemology. Who decides what's authoritative? Who makes that call, right? What is a cult? There's Christian cults, and there's also just cults of other religions, right? Reminds me of the Frank Zappa quote, the pop culture kind of popular famous person in the 60s, 70s in America. He said this: the only difference between a cult and a religion is how much real estate they own. The Catholic Church, for one, they own, I think I read in some places, the most real estate in the world. I heard McDonald's is number 2, which is crazy. But cults usually have no real estate, right? They're like fledgling, they're meeting somebody's home or something like that. Although the Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses own more than that, but interesting comment. What is a Christian cult? Another question. What is the significance of their status to me and my faith? Like, what's the responsibility of you? Like, what do I do with these Christian cults? What's your responsibility? What is your responsibility in that matter toward them? And how should Christians deal with heresy? Carrot or stick? Who's the audience for this hot topic of Jehovah's Witnesses? Mostly you, the Theos peeps, Theos subscribers. Maybe don't show this to a Jehovah's Witness person. I'm going to cover their faith as much as I can here in this hourish we have, the hot topic. But I do crack some jokes and make some fun a little bit. First rule of public speaking is know your audience. So if I had Jehovah's Witnesses in the room, I'd be a lot more maybe professional, a lot more responsible, a lot more winsome, but not for this Theos hot topic, right? So right off the bat, let me just say this. Are Jehovah's Witnesses Christians? And I'm going to take the stance of no, they're not. The less they know about their faith, though, the better. So I do believe like a Jehovah's Witness person that just has a nominal, partial view of Jesus and Christian faith, the less they know, I believe they can be saved. But if you know the full totality of Jehovah's Witnesses and what they believe about Christ and the church and afterlife, it's almost impossible to be a Christian because belief matters, right? It's either a fraudulent faith or it's a demonic faith. Whatever option you take, whether it's fraudulent or it's demonic, they're both heretical. Now let's define terms. What's a Christian cult? I'm gonna use that phrase a lot in this hot topic. So let's define terms. Here's what I mean by Christian cult. A group that claims to be Christian. Hey, we're Christian, yeah, we're Christian. But promulgate doctrines and beliefs that contradict the Bible or essential Christian articles of faith doctrine. It's best represented in this picture here. Take a look. Christian cults, they reject Orthodox faith and they redefine it. Thus, they hold a counterfeit faith, which is a dire heresy. They can't have a counterfeit faiths don't just come out of thin air. And they came on way late in the scene, right, of Christian history. So what do you do with all those thousands of years of Christian history? Well, you have to reject that. And then you have to redefine something because you have your own creeds and beliefs and doctrines. And then that's where they end up being like, dude, you're a false faith. You're a Christian cult. It's heretical. So keep that in mind. Now, quick fact. Did you know there's 9 million Jehovah's Witnesses in the world today as of 2025? It's quite a bit. In some ways, it's not really, but it's a substantial amount if they're a Christian cult. And did you know Jehovah's Witnesses are so despised, not without cause, that some countries have even banned Jehovah's Witnesses from proselytizing or having missionaries in those countries? I just found this out as I was researching this class. Take a look at this map. Large swaths of northern Africa, the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Muslim countries, Russia, and China. They've disbarred and disallowed Jehovah's Witnesses from practicing their faith, right? And proselytizing. So it kind of reminds me of those signs we were looking at where people are really, really more feisty and stingy with Jehovah's Witnesses as they are to Mormons, which is interesting in its own matter. Here's the outline of this hot topic. There's going to be introduction, which I'm into right now. I'm about to finish. There's the background of Jehovah's Witnesses, the foundations, beginnings. Then we're going to break down their faith with major beliefs they hold. Then I'm going to start to kind of counteract and give you the Bible and the witness of church history that goes against Jehovah's Witnesses. They're going to teach you in some measure how to interact with Jehovah's Witnesses. And then we will land on some conclusions.
In a time where truth is under attack through distraction, disinformation, and the chaos of postmodern ideologies, it's vital for us as Christians to strengthen our faith through education. Theosu delivers a distilled Bible college experience for all Christians right in your pocket. Binge like Netflix or join cohorts for guided study. From full-time church staff to Christians in any vocation, Theosu fits your life and calling. Equip yourself, your church, and your ministry with courses on all aspects of the Christian faith, taught by leading scholars, ministers, theologians, and apologists. Come learn non-woke theology at Theosu.
Okay, the background of Jehovah's Witnesses. Remember, foundations are so pivotal. The beginnings are huge. If you took away the book of Genesis, for example, the rest of the Bible would look substantially different, have a different feel, different trajectory. So the beginnings of Christian cults or other false religions are paramount. So what are the beginnings and the background of Jehovah's Witnesses? 2 men are responsible for founding the Jehovah's Witness Christian cult. And they did this in just the last 150 years. Who are these men? The first one, in sequence too, is Charles Taze Russell. See a picture of him there. And Joseph Rutherford. Picture him there. Nice bow tie, Mr. Rutherford. Let's hone in on Russell first. Russell was brought up in the mid-1850s as a Presbyterian in Pennsylvania. But he abandoned his Presbyterian denomination due to its doctrinal positions on predestination and eternal punishment. Those don't exist in Jehovah's Witness. He didn't like those. So he rebelled against that. Then he jumped ship. Right, where's he going now? He left Presbyterianism. Before he started his own Jehovah's Witnesses, he did this. He jumped ship and he became a Seventh-day Adventist and became a minister, got ordained. So Jehovah's Witnesses stems from SDA, in case you know that. As an SDA, Seventh-day Adventist, he started the Bible Student Movement, a society that was millennialist and Christian restorationist group. In 1879, Russell also started the Watchtower Society, which is with us to this day. Now, what is the Watchtower Society? It's a monthly magazine that publishes, to this very moment, and is now the main publication of Jehovah's Witnesses. I'll get to more of the Watchtower Society later. Now, you should know, Charles Taze Russell was a very prolific writer. He has 50,000 total pages with sermons and articles he wrote that are published. He had a 6-volume Bible study he wrote and published. He entitled it The Millennial Dawn. Now get this isn't some obscure publication. His Millennial Dawn has 20 million copies worldwide that were disseminated during his lifetime. Not 20 million as of today, 2025, but in his lifetime, mid-late 19th century, 20 million went out all over the world. In fact, by 1910, Russell's writings had greater circulation of all the preachers in North America combined. He took the best, combined them. They don't match the output of Charles Taze Russell. He claimed no special revelation, unlike, say, Joseph Smith, who had special revelation, or Muhammad or other religions or other Christian cults. And he had no desire to start or create a new denomination. He's SDA. He left Presbyterianism, went to SDA, like, I don't want to start a new one, right? Pastor Russell, as he was affectionately called, died in 1916, okay? And who was his successor? Joseph Rutherford. He took over for Charles Taze Russell. Now, during this takeover, there was a crisis in what was then the Watchtower Society, is what it was called, like a sub-branch of Seventh-day Adventists. Many splits came about, as usually happens when the main person kind of dies and there's like a schism and people like kind of divvy up and like, well, who do you believe and who do I follow? So there was a schism. In fact, take a look at this picture. The Watchtower Society and International Bible Students, both founded by Charles Taze Russell, Pastor Russell. The first schism was 1909, actually before he died, but when he died, the second schism there, 1916, 1919, there's the Layman's Home Missionary Movement, that pink branch top. In the middle is the blue one, the Associated Bible Students. The third schism, 1928, 1931, the Jehovah's Witnesses Watchtower Society, which is what we know today as the predominance of Jehovah's Witnesses. And the one below kind of got co-joined, the third schism and the first schism, called Free Bible Students. A lot of that's going on, okay? Not dissimilar to, say, Catholics and Orthodox and Protestant and Islam and Buddhism, Confucianism, a lot of splits, okay, and Hinduism. But remember this, at this time of Rutherford, the Watchtower Society is still within the SDA, okay? Now, this is kind of like the Knights of Columbus is the largest men's ministry in the world. It's under the auspices and the authority of the Catholic Church, okay? Think of like Young Life for us Protestants or Campus Crusade for Christ, right? If they had their own denomination, right, it's kind of like they're in the big capital C Protestant church, but they're kind of like his own separate entity that they kind of have a focus on. That's how Watchtower Society was for Seventh-day Adventists. A special focus, but still kind of under that umbrella. But during all those schisms I showed you, from 1917 to 1931, the Jehovah's Witnesses under Rutherford, they dwindled from 50,000 to 35,000. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but 15,000 is a pretty big hemorrhage, okay? Now, what does Rutherford do to quell his dissipating numbers? He's like, I gotta do something, right? Here's what he did. He decided at this point to rename the followers who were sticking with him, that didn't schism out and branch out. And in 1931, at that point, he did break away from the Seventh-day Adventists and became its own entity. Its own, I don't even say denomination, because they're not thinking themselves as a denomination. They think themselves as separate, true Christians, kind of like how Mormons do. Mormons don't believe they're part of Orthodox, Catholic, or Protestant. They're on a separate consideration. That's what Jehovah's Witnesses do. So Charles Taze Russell didn't branch out and start his own entity, Christian cult. The foundations were there, and his theology, and his forming the Watchtower Society, the Bible, student movement. But Rutherford took that sapling and branched out into a whole separate thing, okay? Rutherford also makes doctrinal and organizational changes, okay? He was more of an administrator, and the theologian was more Russell. Kept Russell's theology, Pastor Russell's theology, but kind of organized it different and updated it. to be more efficient. Russell's, he's the ideas man. Later, Rutherford became the leader and modified it and took it, and it really increased, right? This is akin to, like, say, Karl Marx for communism. He was the ideas man, right? He wrote the Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, he wrote that. But it was really Lenin, Vladimir Lenin, and later Joseph Stalin. They're the ones that they weren't the ideas man. They took Karl Marx and they promulgated it as something different. That's kind of like Jehovah's Witness with Russell and with Rutherford, okay? Under Rutherford's 25-year leadership as Jehovah's Witness president, it increased sixfold. In 1918, a book written by Mr. Rutherford, he wrote some stuff too, not as good as Russell, it was seized in Canada and the city of Los Angeles by government authorities, and it was considered heretical. They were like, get this, Los Angeles, which today is not conservative at all. In some pockets it is, but super liberal, and Canada's obviously super liberal. But in 1918, about 100 years ago, they took his book, like, dude, that's heresy. We can't have you publish that book. Interesting. Because of Rutherford's, like, crazy writings and teachings, not just in Canada, but I told you Los Angeles, the U.S. Attorney General convicted him of espionage. There was an Espionage Act of 1917 that he qualified under. He was disseminating false beliefs that wasn't what Christian orthodoxy was in America. Now get this, the BBC, British Broadcasting Company, and NBC, National Broadcasting Network here in America, they canceled Rutherford's radio addresses due to his attacking of the clergy. So Orthodox Protestant Catholic in America, predominantly Catholic Protestant, he was attacking them. It's not like, hey, here's our own beliefs, here's our Jehovah's Witness, stances. He was like, no, those guys, Protestants, Catholics, they're wrong. So the BBC, which is Anglican, right? It's the official state religion of England, and NBC, which has no religious affiliation, they took him off the air because he was attacking clergy, okay? To this day, Jehovah's Witnesses attack the Orthodox churches that we are today, okay? To this day.